get started off here this afternoon. I know you and I have talked about this subject, and we've got some great information we want to start sharing with people. But sometimes we develop our graphics and everything, and I kind of shared with you, Patrick, that I went to a conference last week, and it was just a good reminder that we here at American Business Systems, we have a lot of things to try to get doctors in what we would call our funnel. So at the end, as we can see here, it actually turns into money, which means that they become a client. So you and our development team here at American Business Systems, we've developed several techniques actually how to get in front of a doctor.
Yeah, and really that's what we specialize in, Eric. As you know, my wife and I started medical billing back in the early 90s, and we didn't know what we were doing. In fact, I picked up some book somewhere out there that said, hey, start your own medical billing company and read this book and you'll know how. Well, everything that was in the book was wrong. I can tell you, I spent a lot of money trying to figure out how do I connect with doctors, because that's different from marketing to, just consumers, for example. Yep. It's a whole different world. In fact, when people come down sometimes or do our live training, we tell them that, look, whatever you know about marketing, you need to forget about 90% of it, because doctors are just different.
Well, if you think about it, you're trying to market to the individual that is there first and leaves last, and in the middle, guess what they're doing? They're seeing patients in the middle. So think about trying to walk into a doctor's office and cold call them and get an audience with a doctor. That ain't going to happen. Yeah, we've developed ways to be able to get you in front of those doctors.
And we start talking about marketing right here at the very beginning, when some of you on this webinar don't even know what the business is all about. Basically, as Eric said, we have a cloud-based system that allows you to do that billing for doctors over the internet from any device, Windows or Mac. It doesn't matter the platform or the device that you're using. As long as it connects to the internet, you're in business with us.
Yeah, and a lot of people who have never been in billing, you may think, oh, isn't all billing systems like that? And they're really not. You're going to find with doctors, if you get in this business, you're going to find doctors that are using some older systems out there where they've got a server in their office. They're going to have to keep up with the updates and upgrades and the codes and everything else like that, and their own security. And that can actually be a great door opener for you, because of one of our services that we have. They may be having some HIPAA violations right off the bat, Patrick, and that can be one of those areas where you can really develop some trust relationships with those doctors.
Yes, you mentioned the ancillary services. Folks, we have about 7 services that you can walk in and engage with the doctor or the office of the manager, if that's what you're doing. We have about 12 different ways that we teach you to market to doctors, but that's one of them. We have people who just go to a medical building, they start at the top floor and they just go down collecting business cards and leaving behind some information. And those services that we're illustrating there in that slide are basically services that our licensees came to us and said, hey, the doctor has a problem with this area. Do we have anything for it? And we just developed those services over the years so that they have something to talk to them about.
Yeah, you can develop. And what I love, the best thing that you've got in your name, Patrick, is American Business Systems, because that's what people are really buying from us or getting from us are systems. Systems is what people are looking for success, because we know that anybody can go out there and go buy some medical billing software. They can probably go out and develop their own marketing pamphlets and flyers and everything else like that. But what they're trying to do is develop a system. What we have here is all of that already in a system, and that helps you jumpstart your business pretty quickly.
Believe me, folks, our licensing fee is about $27,000. For those of you who didn't know that, it's like a franchise. We're actually selling you a business in a box, basically. And the difference is that this is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The business is already developed for you. If you can follow our directions that we've developed over the last 25 years, you can't help but be successful.
You bet. Don's already got a question here, and I'm loving his question, because Don, if you can get the answer to that question, you're going to find yourself opening up more doors to the doctors than probably anything else. And it has to do with HIPAA. So he's asking, and folks, for those that are on the call today, you don't know what HIPAA stands for, just think of it in general. That's the privacy information, or your personal health information that's there at the doctor's office. Or what's called patient health information, that has to be secured. Patrick, I don't know if you heard, but one of the biggest credit card companies yesterday just had a huge breach. I mean, we're talking millions of people who have gotten their data. It's out there on the web now.
It's very scary.
Yeah. And imagine that happening to doctors' offices and what the doctors' offices have to do. So is HIPAA needed? Yes. Or what we call compliancy to HIPAA? Yes. So Don's asking the question, how do you demonstrate security and compliance to protect PHI and meet HIPAA compliance requirements? And then he goes, can you move PHI from local storage to a dedicated HIPAA compliant cloud for access anywhere? The answer is yes to your second question, Don. And not only can we demonstrate, but with one of our technology partners, they're going to actually do the demonstration of how that happens for that particular doctor's office that you don't even have to deal with. So, and again, Patrick, like we talk about success, we're closing about 50% of those doctors who are needing HIPAA compliance.
Yes, that's right. And folks, when it comes to privacy of the patient data, it's very important that your system be HIPAA compliant. Now, we couldn't say that if we hadn't already been checked out by the government to make sure that we are compliant. And that just means for the last 20 some odd years, we've had no breaches whatsoever. And that has to be pretty secure to do that. Right. Now, those other softwares that are out there, and believe me, there's companies who put software on a CD. I know you find this still hard to believe, but there's software that comes on a CD. My Mac computer doesn't even have a CD, drive in it to install anything because it's all gone cloud-based. Everybody's gone. Apple, Google, everybody is now storing stuff in the cloud. Amazon, of course, has their own cloud. And so it's already over the years become the standard that you just simply log in. Using a browser, you could go to a website that we give you with your credentials and you log in and boom, you're using our system. And the pictures you're seeing here in these screenshots, those are live pictures that were taken right as somebody logged in our system.
You bet. You bet. So folks, when we talk about a system, this is a complete for a billing practice computer software system. You need what's called a practice management system because that's what the doctor's office will use to run their office. It'll also be what you'll use to run your billing part of it. Then you've got EMRX, which is our branded electronic medical records. And also for those that have had some experience in medical billing, you know that to submit claims, you have to submit it through a clearinghouse. Clearinghouse is down there, but it's not outside of our system. We are the clearinghouse. And so for some, Patrick, it's going to be surprising. You mean you're your own clearinghouse? And the answer is yes. That means we're getting claims out the door in real time. So this is huge, huge for you.
Not only is it real time, but it's also scrubbed. I guess that's the term that they use, making sure that the data is accurate before we forward that on to the insurance companies or to Medicare. That means, folks, that your rejection on these claims is way below the national average, which is about 34%. Ours is less than 2% now, isn't it, Eric?
That's correct. Yep. And then it includes a patient portal. So imagine having an entire system within one system that allows you to do so many things for your doctors. So what we want to talk with you about today is success, and we know that we talked about why some people may fail, but Patrick and I want to kind of take it from the position of success. What's going to help people to succeed? So one of the first things we're going to talk about are free leads. How they are dead leads. That's one of the things we're going to talk about today. Number 2, how to get warm leads from networking. Number 3, how to be the expert with educational events. Number 4, let the doctors come to you at trade shows. Number 5, become the gatekeeper's best friend. I know everybody is worried about that young lady behind the desk or the young man behind the desk there that you go, I'm not going to get through that person because that's the doctor's gatekeeper. But we're going to teach you how to become their best friends. And then you might want to think about using sales reps. So these are the 6 things that we're going to be talking about this afternoon. So again, remember, folks, if you got questions, ask us those questions. First, let's talk about sales leads, Patrick.
Right. And folks, what we're doing here is we're pulling back the curtain to let you see why people fail in this business. specifically when people get into trying to do medical billing for doctors, if they try some of these things and they don't understand why we have developed marketing around these things, that's why they're not going to be successful. Our licensees are all successful because they know these things. Well, let's talk about this free leads, Eric. I know that there's one company out there that does something similar to what ABS does, and basically what they make a big deal is that we're going to give you, I think it's 300 that they're using now, 300 names of doctors in your area to start marketing to. Well,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot more than 300 doctors in most areas. They're probably doing that because there's some cities probably might not have more than 300. But why that number? Because that's not a magic number. Those leads are not what we call pre-qualified leads. These are not people who are ready to sign up to do medical billing with you. If we had those lists, Eric, we wouldn't need our licensees, would we? We could just do that ourselves.
You bet.
So, folks, there are no doctor lead lists out there that are just ready to sign up with you. But if you want to find doctors in your area, we just happen to have a bunch of those lists available to you. There's a whole lot of good reasons why you would not want to just go out and call on those as if they're ready to sign up. They're not, but we're going to teach you how to nurture those leads and make sure that you don't fall into that chasm illustrated right there by thinking that they're ready to sign up.
Yeah, because you're walking around, hey, I got this lead list and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to see that. But then what's going to happen is that you're going to get disappointed pretty quickly because, like Patrick said, these are not pre-qualified leads. These are leads that just kind of lead you on, just thinking, hey, if someone's given me a list of leads, then gosh, this company maybe that I might get involved with, they must know what they're doing. So let's talk about why free leads are dead leads. A lot of times you're going to find that, you're not just going to, again, Patrick, I'm going to put this up here because you put this huge list up here.
Yeah, and you know what? I've got to blow this up on my screen to be able to see this, folks. Hey, Eric, why don't we stop our webinar webcams here just for a second? I think that'll make it so that they can see just the slideshow there. And folks, if you want to, just blow that up somewhere on your screen there so you can see it real good. I'm going to show you that there are lists of doctors if that's what you want. But you know what? Most of those lists are probably from the American Medical Association, which is what I'm showing you right here. Look, just over to the left side, you see allergy and immunology, you see anesthesiology, you see cardiology. There's 3 specialties right there, and the number of total physicians in there. I think it's the 3rd column that's showing you those numbers. These are lists that are available from the AMA. You don't have to go out and find a company like ours and pay, $30,000, $40,000 to get a list like that. They're available from the AMA. Eric, let's just go through these real quick. I want to show some of the other specialties. Look, just so you have a bigger picture, folks, there's dermatology, there's endocrinology, diabetes and metabolism. There's emergency medicine, of course, that's out there. You can do billing for all of these specialties. Here's family practice, of course, and then you've got geriatrics, you've got internal medicine, you have,
infectious
all
disease,
those.
medical genetics, neurology, surgery, OBGYN, oncology, ophthalmology. Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
do you know what octo, it was on the previous slide there, it's right there, otolaryngology is?
No.
Well, this is the reason why we don't use this word. It's an ear, nose, and throat doctor.
Okay.
I had to look that up. I had to Google that. But the point is, of all these folks, we're just showing you that this is a huge market. You don't need a list. If you go to Google and type in otolaryngology, you'll find all the people in your area that are in that specialty. So there are ways we can show you if you want to buy a list like this. We can even show you that we've bought a list. We have a list that's available if that's what you want, but it doesn't mean they're ready to sign up. Marketing to doctors is more than just knocking on the door, and like Eric showed earlier, most of them have a no soliciting sign anyway. So we're going to show you how to get around all that.
Yeah, because folks, here, as you can see here, if you walk in a doctor's office, and we can put our videos back up on here. If you walk into a doctor's office and it appears that you've just got a list of leads that you've gotten from a leads list, you're going to be looked as a salesperson. And immediately remember, the first person you're going to contact there in that office is, guess who? That office manager or someone else is that at the glass where they kind of go, they pull that glass back and they go, yes, can I help you? And they may be friendly at first because they might think that you're a patient. But as soon as you open your mouth and you say, hi, I'm Eric with American Business Systems or whatever your company might be, they already know that you're a salesperson.
That's right. I made the mistake, Eric, back when I first started this. I thought that that's how you would get clients, is just go around and, knock on doors. And that was a mistake. I learned real fast that they spotted me a mile away, that this guy must be selling something. And they would all cower behind their desks, when they saw somebody walk in like me. I overdressed, I looked like a sales guy.
Yeah, and we tell you, we kind of even teach you how to dress and make sure that you approach it from a specific way. But what you wanted to end up being is the doctor's resource. So, however, if you approach the doctors using one of our proven methods of marketing, again, they're going to see you as some type of helpful resource. And Patrick, those are the things of those ancillary services that we have currently that can help you build that type of relationship with the doctors.
Right. And, like this next slide says, folks, connecting with doctors is based on two main things: relationships and trust. And the way that comes about, you've probably heard this before, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And the trust is the key part there, because we can show you how to get to know doctors. We can show you how to connect with doctors. And kind of up to you as to whether or not they like you. But whether or not they trust you is based on a lot of factors that we teach you how to position yourself as that perfect person, that expert in their area.
Yeah, and that's what you want to be known by. And that's what we're even trying to do with you. We want you to know who we are here at American Business Systems. We want you to like us, because eventually we want you to trust us. And it's our job, our duty, to build that trust with you on these webinars. That's why we do these webinars on a weekly basis.
Eric, we had somebody on our training recently that told the instructor that they had been looking into this business for over a year. That is, they'd been coming to our webinars on Wednesdays for over a year, and that they learned to trust us because we share the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? We're not going to hide anything from anybody. We want you to know that this business is one of those businesses that's not for everybody. But if it is for you, and you see that based on the data, the information, the resources that we give you during these webinars, then you'll go forward and become a licensee. And with a money back guarantee, you can hardly go wrong.
That's right. April is asking a question here, and she goes, hello, so all the providers have to use your software? They don't have to use our software. We know that you're going to want to get a doctor, and you may even need to operate within their system a little bit. But what you're going to find out through the training, we're going to teach you how to do what's called a practice analysis. That practice analysis is going to help you discover what they're currently working on. You're even going to find out what their cost is on using the system that they're currently using. But we're also going to, at the end of it, there's going to be another report that says, if you were to use us and use our software, that we can almost guarantee that we're going to get you another 15 to 20% more money per month. So April, if you think about it this way, we don't want you to try to sell the software. We want you to sell the doctor their money. However, to get that extra, it could be $5,000, $10,000. Patrick, we've seen it up to $25,000 to $30,000 more dollars, sometimes even a month, just because of some of the lack of things that are going on. I promise you, April, they're going to go, if you can get those numbers, I'll be happy to switch over to your system.
Yeah. Here's one by Linwood, too. He says, how does one find out if a doctor is part of a network or an independent practice? And that's a great question. But you know what? It kind of goes back to that question. Do you have a list of doctors? Is there some way I can find that out? There's only one way you can find that out, and that's to use our marketing methods, which shows you how to connect with people in your community that know those doctors. Right. They'll be able to tell you whether they're independent or not before you approach them.
And that goes with our second thing that we want to talk about. Get warm leads from networking. I tell you, a list is only a list of cold leads. That's all they are.
Yeah.
Nobody is recommending you. If you get a list from another company, that company hasn't called them and says, "Hey, I'll just use me for instance. Hey, Eric has said that I could come by and visit with you." That's just a lead list of cold leads. So what we're going to do is teach you how to create leads with your networking, and now you've got warm leads. Because Patrick, you used to be, I mean, you still are very heavily in networking, and a warm lead is a whole lot better than a cold lead.
Absolutely. And you know, when we talk about networking, we're also talking about your own warm market. That is people that you know. Eric, I would venture to say that at least a third of all of our licensees got their first client from someone that we taught them how to share information about what they're doing with
Yeah.
their own circle
Yeah.
of people that they know, and got a reference to a doctor and went and signed them up. So this is a very important part. And folks, it's not just your own warm market either. It's also learning how to go out to different organizations and get those warm leads from other people that are looking to do business with doctors. They're not in competition with you. We call them power partners, but they're people who are also trying to connect. And look at all these organizations. You can do some Googling and find all these organizations right in your area. We're going to show you how to connect with those organizations in your area. And man, there's nothing like meeting somebody who knows a doctor and maybe it's a client of theirs and they introduce you.
You know, I was talking with, you know, we've interviewed Dr. Vicki Rackner several times, folks. If you haven't seen any of our webinars with Dr. Rackner, you need to go watch some of those. She and I had a conversation just yesterday, or the day before, and she says, "Hey, Eric, you know, you need to let your ABS licensees know," and I've got them written down right here. I've got a little piece of pad here that with my notes still on there. Talk with financial advisors and tax strategists.
Yes, because they all have doctors as clients. And you can introduce them to your clients once you have some doctors. They know doctors and they'll introduce you to them. And that's what is great about it, folks, is that doctors like to be referred by people that they know that know you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so, folks, again, what we're trying to teach you, even on this webinar, if you haven't gotten it yet, you're receiving training from us right now. So we're here to help you and give you a not just the warm and fuzzies, but really try to say these are the things that we teach you. We're, like Patrick said, we're pulling back the curtain on this to let you know what we do to help you get those leads. And again, go ahead, Patrick.
You're not there. You're certainly not there when we go to these networking organizations and groups. You're not there to meet. You're there just to meet people, not to sell to them. And that's a big mistake that people make. Eric, as you know, a few years back, my daughter and I and son, we all started a networking organization over in Dallas, Texas. We had over 600 members, people meeting every day all across the Metroplex. And we were teaching people these very topics, that here's how you connect with people. You don't try to sell them. What you do is just meet those people, let them get to know you, and they know you know them. And all of a sudden, you're referring to, people to one another.
You bet. Yeah. And that's what you're doing. What you're looking for is, you can see that little part right down here below. You are looking for power partners who target your same market, but doesn't compete with what you're doing.
Yeah, so, you mentioned earlier, financial advisors, tax advisors, bankers, mortgage people. Anybody that does business with doctors is a great power partner for you to connect with. And we'll show you how to find them.
Yeah, you might want to even try to go to a breakfast where there's a bunch of pharmaceutical reps that are meeting. I mean, what a great place to begin is try to meet with some people that are already dealing with doctors and go finding out where those network meetings are.
Yeah, and you might hook up with one of them and get some free samples. Who knows?
Yeah, never know.
But you never know.
The third thing that we want to talk with you about, and we got about 30 more minutes left of the webinar. So if you got any more questions, Patrick and I would be happy to kind of stop and start taking your questions. But at the end of the day, through our training, one of the ways in which is going to make you successful and position you to be successful and not in a position to fail is that we're going to make you what's known as the subject matter expert.
Yeah, subject matter expert. Now, how in the world do you do that when you start a new business and you don't know anything about it, right? How are we going to train you in just a few hours of live training? How are we going to get you up to speed to position yourself as the subject matter expert? Well, that's what we're about to talk to you about. There's lots of ways to do that. And one of them is through what's called a lunch and learn. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a brief presentation by you or your power partners to a group of office managers or doctors during lunch. Eric, there's nothing like pizza or any kind of food that will open doors for you, will it?
You know what? It could be as simple as this. And you could walk into any doctor's office, you know, if you want to kind of do some canvassing and just go to that doctor's office and knock on that little thing there and just say, hey, whoever you're with, if you're already got a business name, and just say, you know what, all I want to do is find out the day that you guys want lunches from your sales reps.
Yeah.
That's all you need to ask.
Most of them have a calendar, Eric. I found out that they would just hand you the calendar and let you pencil in. So here's what happens, folks, for, you know, $40 or $50 worth of food to feed the staff that day. You're in like Flynn. You've gotten past that invisible, you know, bulletproof glass, I call it, out front, and you're inside the office now with them, bringing food, but at the same time also bringing brochures, a little short presentation, any kind of information about what you do to help medical doctors.
You bet. So again, and then what we're going to teach you is what to say during those lunches. And it could just be something brief. And you think maybe 5 to 10 minutes. It's not like you're going to get up there and like what Patrick and I are doing for an entire hour. You're not going to have that long with them. Because remember, their lunch hours are maybe an hour. So by the time you get everybody together, they start eating, you know, and you just start communicating with them and say, okay, hey, while you're eating, I'd like to share with you a little bit about our company. Here are some of the things that we talk about. It could be even about HIPAA. It could be about, you know, old accounts receivables.
Right.
But what we're telling you is those are the things that we're going to teach you in our live training. Those are the key elements that you're going to be able to go be the expert, bring lunch, bring the pizza, bring something, get in front of them and create that warm market.
And as you've seen from the webinars, folks, Eric's not only our research and development director, but he's also a great graphic artist presenter from the slide standpoint. So we already have slide decks ready for you to print out and hand out or use on a laptop or an iPad while they're eating lunch and you're explaining what you do. It's a wonderful way for you to position yourself as the expert, even though you may not feel like you're the expert right now.
Yeah, I mean, in this one, we can teach you how to do seminars. And if you want to learn how to do webinars, we can teach you how to do a webinar. I mean, Patrick and I mean, you and I have probably done thousands of webinars over the years.
Oh, yeah, over the last, 11 years that you've been with me, Eric, I know we've done hundreds at least. And Dr. Vicki Ragner, who Eric mentioned earlier, is also on board to help our licensees if they want her to do a webinar for doctors.
Yes.
So you can arrange, she speaks all over the country to huge conventions of doctors. She's been on television, radio, she's been interviewed by magazines and newspapers all over and folks, she's written over a dozen books, including books that she's written specifically with me for our licensees to use in their marketing. So we've got all the resources you need to help you with those presentations.
You bet. Jedediah, you asked a great question about how to hire sales reps. That is the last thing we're going to talk about, so stay tuned. We're going to get to your question. I just want to let you know that we haven't forgotten about your question because we're talking about, again, just being the expert with some educational events. And it all, again, we're driving this point to you. It's all done by our live training. And at the end of that live training, we're going to certify you as a certified medical revenue manager. Patrick, you want to kind of talk about being a CMRM and who MIRMA is and all of that and kind of just talk about that?
Yeah, I think Eric mentioned earlier that, you know, I'm on the board of the MIRMA, which is the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. And folks, this organization was established so that you have the credibility that you need when you go out and talk to doctors and office managers. You're not just a medical biller, you notice, you're a certified medical revenue manager. That sounds much larger, and it is. You're handling the entire revenue cycle of a doctor, and that's why we certify you in this way. But these trainings that we're talking about, folks, the live trainings are taught by certified medical revenue managers who've been licensees for us for many, many years. So you're learning from people who've already been there, done that, and have the t-shirt, and they're going to tell you all the good and the bad and the ugly of this business as they train you to duplicate their success.
You bet. You bet. Folks, again, don't forget, we're here to answer some of your questions. So if you've got a question that we just talked about and we can get to that question, we're going to get to you. Now we're really going to blow your mind. Here we go. For those that are adventurous, you may want to think about doing a trade show. And you're thinking, oh, how would I compete with all of these folks here? Patrick, I know one of the great things that we've done here, we've created our own trade show package, which includes a trade show booth.
Yes, we have both a tabletop version and a standalone version. And that means, folks, that you borrow this from us at no cost. That's a part of your license fee to use this anytime you want to. And when you get this, of course, you set it up there at one of these functions, and the doctors come to you. Eric, that's the great part about this. Those doctors at these conventions, there's all kinds of medical conventions being held. They'll come to you and walk up and read this and start a dialogue with you. It doesn't get any better than this.
No, I mean, if you look at this is actually one of our licensees that has put up a booth there at a podiatry trade show.
That's Tim Warren, Eric. I didn't realize that we had that picture of Tim. I remember him doing that. You know, Tim is another one of our licensees who helps mentor and support our current licensees.
Yeah, so Tim's part of our support team. So here you've got someone that's in support, that's a licensee who has been out there, built their business, gone and done these trade shows, done the networking. So it's no longer theory, folks. You're dealing with folks that are doing this. I'm out there, I'm testing the market. You know, we've got people that are on our team that have been in the market. They know how to get clients. So, and do billing. So we're not just selling you a pig in the poke, as they would say. We're here teaching you, even on our live webinars during the week by week, to say, here are some things here that we're able to and capable of doing. And we've all done these things. So
let me talk about point number 3 on this slide, because yes, you'll obtain lots of leads and you'll build credibility of these things, but you can also schedule what's called a practice analysis. Now, folks, we've spent many, many years developing this, but it's a questionnaire basically that lets you ask questions to the office manager, usually, because they know the answers to them. And you ask all these questions. There's about 40 or 50 questions. By the time you get through, you know everything there is to know to go back and prepare a great proposal to bring back and show them what you can do for them. Right. But we also set up what's called demos. Eric, let's talk about those demos just for a second. I think the next slide actually illustrates a live demo being done.
Yeah, you bet. And whenever you collect your leads and you've got an appointment with a doctor, as soon as you come out of training, you still don't know everything. So this is where, again, the backbone of ABS's support is huge. We're the ones that are propping you up. And one of the ways we do that is that we do live demonstrations of the software for you. And that's at no additional cost. It's not like you're going to pay the $27,000 here. And then if you want to schedule a demo, it's another $250 or $500 per demo. That's all included.
Yeah, on our website, you'll actually be going there and signing up for a demo for one of your doctors that would like to see what system you're using. And folks, when they see this, the doctors are blown away. Eric, I've been on some of those demos that you do for doctors, and they literally are gasping sometimes behind the scenes. You can hear them talking with their office managers. Look at that. Did you know that could be done? We have the leading edge technology that's out there, and they are blown away when they see this.
No doubt. And so imagine that we're here with a specialist, a podiatrist, urologist, any of those specialists that we showed you on that list earlier, we'll do those demos for you. So here's the way in which we can certainly help you.
Yeah, so just like we're using this technology today to convey this information to you, we hook up live over the internet with our system. It's live. Of course, it's fake data that we're putting on there. We have to protect the patient data, but we're actually showing the doctor how the system works, and they can ask all the questions they want. We're answering the questions for you. You can be on it as well, of course, listening to what we say and what the doctor says. And we'll do one of these demos for you, folks. If you're on this today and you haven't seen a demo of our system, since we don't have it on we don't have a CD that we can mail out to you, you have to actually ask us to set it up so we can show it to you live over the internet. And
We
we're
would
not going to try to sell you anything. What we're going to do is show you our system, let you ask all the questions you want. And then again, if this is the right business for you, you can move forward if you want to.
You bet. Gloeth, you asked the question, how do we find out about when and where the trade shows are? Gloeth, that's a great question. And I just looked up that this last week. You can put in trade shows for doctors in whatever area that you want to look for, and then you're gonna populate it'll Google will tell you. I promise you. Yeah. Another thing that you might want to do, you can do this now. I'm sure every state in the U.S. has its own medical society. So like here in Texas, there's the Texas Medical Society. If you're in Mississippi or Colorado, go to their website, and underneath their events, there's going to be some events there that they're hosting trade shows. That would be a great place to start. So just check out that. Then you can even bring it down even to a little bit closer area. You may even find one in your county. Each county has a medical society. They have events. They have trade shows that you might want to look into. But you can go find those out there anywhere.
Yeah, you're going to be surprised at how many of those are being held. Plus, folks, you don't have to go to a medical convention of any kind or trade show. Doctors are human beings. I know you find that hard to believe, but they show up at trade shows for, home and garden, boat and automobile trade shows, anything. You can put one of these booths up. And as the doctors are there looking at boats, they're also going to see that you do medical billing and can help them with their cash flow. And they'll stop. Eric, we did this ourselves. You remember a few years back, and it's been a while, but we did one in Dallas. It was I think it was a women's entrepreneur trade show. And we just said, well, let's put up a booth and see what happens just to test it out. And we had 5 doctors leave their business cards with us. Of course, we don't do medical billing for doctors now as a company. We just train other people. So we turn those leads over to some of our local licensees. But yeah, the doctors were thrilled when they realized that there's somebody that can take their billing and solve their cash flow problems.
You bet. You bet. Jedediah, you asked a great question, and I'm just going to go back one slide. You asked the question, the trade show booth that we have that you can use from us, is it possible to customize it with your company name and logo? If you'll look right here besides this man there in the jacket, you can look right over his what would be his right shoulder. That's the trade show booth. So it's customized with the branding that we have for all of the services that we have. But right next to it, standing up there, you can see his own little pop-up little thing there. Yeah. You can get those for $100, $150 that you can have all the time. So that's the way you brand it for you. So you can have your own logo and content there. But the big part of it, the part that costs you $3,000 or $4,000, that is all part of what you get here at ABS to borrow from us.
Yeah, that one, that's the big one that you see there in that picture. That cost us about $4,000, Eric, when we had that made. It's got lights that you can hook up on the top, and it's 10 by 10, so it's a huge display. They're very expensive, but you can personalize it that way by just buy a little banner that's $100 or so. Yeah.
All right, a few more minutes here left, but we want to teach you how to become the gatekeeper's best friend. And that person that's behind the glass, you want to make happy and kind of start to do that. And one of the best ways to do that is with candy. Patrick, there's nobody that doesn't like candy.
No, and when you put it in a pill bottle like this and put a label on it the way we have already designed for you that you can personalize, of course, with your company name on there, it's the most clever thing I've ever seen, Eric, because it says, if you're having cash flow problems, take 2 of these and, meditate or something like that, because it's just candy. I mean, you can put M&Ms or Skittles or whatever you want to in there, but they just think that's the greatest thing. It's a wonderful door opener. A lot of people use these at trade shows too.
Yep, absolutely. So you can just give those out. And another thing is the content of the material. So we've got some information here. Patrick, let's kind of talk about the books. I think there's a new book that you've got out that I don't think we have here on a slide, but there's a lot of things that we can help an office manager learn some more things about, whether it's how physicians can get more patients in their office, the new thriving medical practice, the cash crunch, cash flow.
I think you're paused, Eric. We're looking at the pill bottle.
There we go.
Yeah.
How about
All right.
that?
So there's the books he's talking about. But look, I have a pre-release version of the latest book, Eric, called 10 Critical Questions for Physicians in Private Practice. And as you can see, that's by Dr. Vicki Ragnar, written for us as a marketing tool. And it says, the subtitle is, "And the Single Choice That Can Help Your Practice to Prosper and Grow." Guess what that choice is? It's outsourcing your billing. And Dr. Vicki has a great story she shares in this book about when she was in private practice and what it took to motivate her to outsource her billing. She had a horror story with the biller she had.
Absolutely. I think every doctor's had some type of
Yeah.
horror story. But again, this particular book, The New Thriving Medical Practice, is a much thicker book, but it's even more customizable because of the individual that gets put down there, of the person that wrote the forward to the book.
Yeah, I've got a copy of that book right here. And like I said, this is a bigger, thicker, real book. It sells for $24.95 on Amazon because doctors love this type of information and they're willing to pay for it. But folks, we utilize this, and you can utilize it as a marketing tool, because at the bottom there, zoom in on that, Eric, if you can. There at the bottom, you can put your name right on the front cover. Look that down there. That's Susan Smith, CMRM, Certified Medical Revenue Manager. That could be your name right there on the book. And then we put it on the inside title page. We put your contact information at the end of the forward. So all of that's there printed in the book, folks. We can have these books printed for you as a customized gift to hand to doctors for marketing at about $4. Now, talk about adding credibility. To have your name on the front cover with a doctor, it doesn't get any better than that. Nobody else has anything close to this. We teach you how to market in the training with little tabs there. And if you open that book up, you'll see that we've actually taught you to highlight certain passages. So when a doctor gets this book, they don't have to read the whole thing, but they will turn to every one of those tabs and read the highlighted passage. Eric, we've had people hand this book out. In a week's time, 2 or 3 doctors call them and say, "Hey, come do that practice analysis that you talk about here in this book. I want to find out if you can help me."
Yeah, you bet. And we're going to show you how to use specialized marketing ways to get that book directly to the doctor, past the gatekeeper, to make sure that it gets to the doctor.
Yep. Oh, we are pulling back the curtain today, buddy. We're pulling back the curtain. We're sharing secrets here that we should be charging big bucks for.
You bet. Don's asking the question, would we have the opportunity to have a person from ABS to help us on the first trade show booth and stay at the show for day one if it is in Texas? You bet. Hey, as Patrick has always taught me 11 years ago, anything for a fee.
That's right. There's nothing you can ask me that I won't say yes to. Now, I may add for a fee on there, but yes, Don, we have licensees who do that very thing, and in fact have gone out and helped licensees with their first clients. So yeah, all that's available through it, because we're the nation's largest network of medical revenue managers. There is no organization that's larger than ABS. So we have the people that are available to work with you no matter what help you need.
You bet. Now, getting to Jedediah's question, automate your marketing with sales reps. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll kind of leave. There's some questions that have come in here, and we're going to answer those towards the end. But now let's talk about possibly how you can utilize the sales rep. So imagine that you are in one part of the country, but you've got a sales rep somewhere else, and you can do this, and a lot of them will do it on a commissions basis, because there's a lot of sales reps that are already out there doing something. They just want to add one more little thing to their bag of tricks. That could be a very big help for you.
Yeah, I tell people, Eric, if you're not, suited for marketing, you don't feel like that's your thing, believe me, there are people all across America who love to sell because they're money motivated, and there's big bucks in sales, of course. And you can pay those people on a commission basis only. In fact, we're going to show you how to find those people, how to interview those people, how to train those people, pay them on a commission basis. All of that's included in our training, folks, because licensees, again, everybody has their own strengths and their weaknesses. And if you don't think that you can market, we'll have somebody out there just bring new clients to you. Now, you're going to pay them a little bit for that, And we'll show you how we break that down in the trainings where you can pay them on a commission basis. You give them a little bit up front out of the setup fee that you get from the doctor. And they're thrilled to have an ongoing residual income with your company.
You bet. We could go out over here and show you, but I know that we're kind of run up against the time of the clock here. But we inside of our licensee support site, we actually show you how to train your sales reps directly in here without them either attending the live training or an online training class. It's right through our licensee support site to be able to help you with that.
Yeah, we've developed videos specifically to train your sales reps. That's right. We've thought of everything, Eric. We've thought of everything.
It's amazing. That's why it's called a system, folks. It's
right.
You get this. So, folks, we're going to just put this up here and just kind of remind you of what we talked about today. We talked about why free leads are just dead leads, or just a list of leads are still dead leads because they're just cold leads, and doesn't mean that the doctor is looking to change their billing. It won't even tell you whether they're in a group or as an independent. There are ways to do that, and that's how you get your warm leads from your network. Being the expert with educational events, let the doctors come to you at trade shows, be the gatekeeper's best friend, and automate your marketing with some sales reps. Patrick, we've got some time to kind of talk about some more things. Let's get some more questions over here. So, folks, now's a good time for you just to throw as many questions to us at this time as you want to.
And Eric, I'm going to talk about the money back guarantee. So you might just put that up there so that when I get to it, it'll be there. But yeah, there's a couple of questions here. You want to take that one from Linwood there first, and I'll get Don's second question.
Linwood's asking how much of the pill bottles and labels, and do they come with the marketing kit? I'll answer your second question first. They don't come with the marketing kit. However, the labels are actually on our licensee support site, and they're already in a template. So you don't have to go recreate that. You just need to put your content in there, your logo on there, and then print it out on your printer or send it over to one of the office places that you can print out a set of those lists in color. And then you can get the pill bottles. We even show you on the licensee support site what size to get and where you can get those. And pretty much you can get those from Amazon. They're like $1 or $2 a bottle. So if you get 20 or 30,
less than that, Eric. The bottle, I mean, the whole thing with candy in there, the label, the bottle, and the cap and the candy is less than $1. We've got a source for those bottles that's like 30 cents a piece. Yeah. Okay, and then Don asked about, is ABS a member of a trade association? I love the way he puts this. In order to help us keep up with the changes or expected changes in the laws that would affect our billing services. We never know what brilliant ideas legislatures dream up.
Right.
Don, you are absolutely right. I don't trust anybody with the U.S. government as far as I can throw them uphill into a strong wind. So I'll tell you this. We are members, not only do we have the organization that keeps up with this, the MIRMA, but we also are members of other organizations and keep up with all of this through our licensees. Hey, nothing comes about in this industry that we don't know of it first from our licensees, and then we pass that on the blog page of our licensee support website. If you'll just check in there once a week, you'll keep up with all the latest.
You bet. Yep, absolutely. All right, Patrick, if somebody wants to write in some more questions, in the meantime, why don't you go over the money back guarantee for now?
Well, it's pretty simple, Eric. We're the only company, by the way, that I know that does this, that sells a franchise or business opportunity licensing package that offers 100% money back guarantee. It's unheard of. And people think, well, wouldn't you go out of business because wouldn't people just take your training and get your money back? I guess they could. But Eric, they know by the time they go through our training how much more this is than what we can convey over the internet here, and how much more we have for them as a licensee. So that's why it says, look, it says right there, here it is. If at the end of the live training, for any reason, you don't think this business is right for you, simply tell us and we'll arrange for you to receive a full refund of your license fee. Unheard of, Eric.
Unheard of. Yep.
And yet we have done that. We've given people money back in the 25 years we've been in business, a handful, basically.
Right.
So it happens, but folks, we know what we have. That's how we can offer this guarantee. Now, look, there are other businesses that do something similar to what ABS does. If you go with them and they don't have a money back guarantee, you send them your money, it's a done deal. Doesn't matter how crappy their software is. Doesn't matter if you have problems installing it. are getting set up with a clearinghouse that they make you do on your own, it's a done deal. Your money is spent. With us, you're going to get all the information that we have, all the proprietary secrets of what we've learned in 25 years. And then if you don't like it, you get your money back. I don't know how to do that. That was an ingenious idea that I came up with.
Ingenious. All right, so folks, we're going to share what we're going to do next week with you and for you. So again, we've shared a lot of information. As Patrick said, we pulled back the curtain. We gave you information, a lot of what we teach and train. We gave you ideas of what you know that you could probably already start doing. We're not afraid of giving you information, but because we've got the entire system. And we want to give you that information in order that you, again, know who we are, that you like us, and that you trust us, and we're going to be here every step of the way. One of the things that we're going to do, again, on our webinar next week is do an interview. We're going to do an interview with one of our licensees, again, that's been right where you are, sitting on these webinars, has jumped off the cliff, so to say, did the purchase agreement, came to training, and now successful. So Danielle Williams is going to be on our webinar next week with Patrick. Patrick, why don't you give us a little insight about Danielle here?
Yeah, here's the amazing thing, folks. This is one interview out of, Eric, now it's about 75 that I've done with licensees across the country from coast to coast. Live interviews that I've done, 1 hour interviews, that's 75 hours of interviews. Folks, if you want to hear from people who have been through our training, who've experienced our support, who've seen what it's actually out there in the real world, watch these interviews. There's on our website, you can go to our website and under the news section, look for blog, and you'll see some of these interviews. Keep going down, previous page, and you'll see all of those interviews. Or you can just go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/whyabs, why, W-H-Y, ABS. Go watch some of these. But this one's going to be live next week. This is your chance to ask somebody who's been there and done it through our training, and you can ask them all the questions you want live. So we put the link over there, I think, in the question box. You should see that now.
Yes.
Go get that link and sign up right now, because seats fill up fast.
You bet. Folks, as we kind of wrap up here, I don't think we've got any other questions. So if you've got any questions, get back with the person that asked you to attend today for the webinar. If you haven't seen a live demonstration of the software, get with them, ask them and say, hey, Patrick and Eric said something about seeing a demo. I haven't seen one yet. I'd like to do that. Get that underneath your belt, because that'll be one of those things that go into this big funnel, as you can see here. I put that back up on the screen for you to know that we're going to teach you how to do those demos. We'll be doing those demos, whatever training method that you need that get doctors in your funnel, so that in the end, you're getting 1, 2, 3, you're creating what's called a pipeline for yourself, how to get some doctors within your pipeline, and then getting those doctors to sign up. Patrick, we shared a lot of information this afternoon.
Yeah, and folks, we're thankful that you join us on these webinars. We do them every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Time. Be sure and sign up for next week's. Even if you don't know that you can make it, it's okay. We send out links to the recordings, just like we will for this one. We record all of these, so you can go back and watch them as many times as you want to them, or share them with people who you wish had been on this one today. So if you've got questions that we didn't get to, by the way, I think there's a few more coming in now, Eric, but if you've got questions that we didn't get to, believe me, we get back with you. All of the people that are here that are our business development representatives, they will get back with you and share that question, the answer with you.